I want to big up Sporting Icons' excellent video about the record setters for Team GB boxing. In my opinion, the UK does not have a better coach than Rob McCracken. Not on accomplishments anyway. Now you may think this guy does this better technically and that technically, but if you're talking about accomplishments and longevity, all what he's done with Team GB over the years, AJ and Carl Froch, it's a landslide. Now let's get to Britain's Olympic medal haul. Carice Artingstall, bronze medal at FAVOUR. Fraser Clark, bronze medal at super heavy. Ben Whittaker, silver at light heavy. Pat McCormack, silver at welter. Lauren Price, gold medal at middleweight. And Galal Yafai, he got gold at flyweight. 6 medals. 2 gold medals for GB. America, they got no gold at all. Krayshawn Davis got a silver at lightweight against the Cuban Cruz. Richard Torres, he got silver against Bakhtor Jalilov, the Uzbekistan. Jalilov previously knocked out Torres quite dramatically around 2019. But this time Torres went the distance. Jalilov, he was looking for that left hand all fight. That's what knocked out Torres last time. And he kind of went a bit left hand happy from that southpaw stance. Fraser Clark, I'm really interested to see where he goes when he turns pro. You could put it down to his opponent in the quarterfinals, who got DQ'd for illegal usage of his head, and Fraser, with his aggressive style, attributed to his cuts that he took into the semi-finals against Jalilov. He forced a standing count. And, you know, to me, Jalilov didn't look leagues apart from Fraser. Not at all. Duke Reagan, he also got silver for America, losing 3-2 to Batgassiev, a Russian, in the featherweight final. O'Shea Jones, she got a bronze for America, representing the women. She lost 4-1 to Hu Gong from China. Now I'm going to remind everybody it's 17 years since America got a gold. Andre Ward at the Athens Olympics. 17 years. And a lot of people are, I'm talking Americans, they're asking why. Why are they not getting gold? Where are the Oscar De La Hoyas? And I'm going to put Roy Jones in there even though he got silver, because he got gold really. You know, changed the whole amateur system, the corruption in the scoring against him in Seoul, 1988. Where are these guys? Where are the Pernell Whitakers, the Mildred Taylors, De La Hoya, the David Reeds, the Howard Davises, the Muhammad Ali's, the Floyd Pattersons, the Virgil Hills, the George Foremans, the Fraziers, the Leo Randolphs, the Ray Mercers, the Andrew Maynards, the Spinxes. Now, America collected more medals than any other country in this year's Olympics. A lot of people will tell you that it's down to their best athletes. We're talking about men right now, concentrating on the men, are going into gridiron or basketball. But wouldn't that just account for heavyweights for the most part? Or cruiserweights? Because how many people who weigh 12 stone 5 are playing in the NFL? They're big dudes, isn't it? I mean, and basketball players are 6'5", 6'6". What, they weigh 12 stone? So that would only account for heavyweights for the most part, or big cruiserweights. What about the rest of the weight classes? You can only bring that argument to me if you do a study on how much pro boxers are actively working in America now compared to 2004. If the number has dropped off significantly, that might tell us something. There might be something in the basketball and football argument, I don't know. But that's for America to work out. Maybe they can bring back Rolly Schwartz, like they did in '73. You know what's really disturbing is how much pros are going back to the Olympics. Krayshawn Davis, his opponent who pipped him to the gold in the final, he's a professional. And of course, Krayshawn is a pro. There were so many pros in there. I'm not going to moan on about it too much, but it seems to defeat the purpose. You turn pro to go back in an amateur tournament. It's going backwards. You turn pro to fight for pro titles, world titles, surely. Jalilov, he's a pro. He won Olympic gold at super heavy. There were female pros in there. But what really seems to have defined these Olympics is mental health. I think it would be inappropriate if I go on an old man rant right now talking about back in my day. They tell you to suck it up and get back out there. So I won't do that. We had Simone Biles. She withdrew to focus on her mental health. There was an American sprinter, Noah Lyles. He finished third in the 200 meters and broke down about battling depression and anxiety and taking antidepressants. The silver medal winner in the women's pole vault, a Russian, Angelika Sidorova, said mental health is a very personal thing, but later acknowledged she sees a specialist. Maria Vicente, a heptathlete from Spain, praised Biles and said she too wanted to begin seeing a therapist after the Olympics. Keyshawn Davis, he revealed when he was 17, he convinced his family to leave Norfolk, Virginia for Alexandria, Virginia, in order to focus on his boxing career. And there was a lot of pressure on him to provide for his family, qualify for the Olympics. And that's probably why he did turn pro and then go back to the Olympics to try and relive his dream. He also ended up in a school with predominantly white students, whereas when he was in Virginia, he was in a school with predominantly black students. Anyway, he said he felt out of place in the white school. The school counselor contacted his family, and they pled with them to get Davis to enter the mental health facility, which he did. They strapped him down to a stretcher, cut the sirens, and for 3 hours, he rode that way to the facility. When he got there, they made him take the strings out of his hoodie and his pants. His mother told him not to snap, and he worked his way through what was going on. Tyson Fury, he speaks on his mental health issues. Of course, we had Ryan Garcia, who is currently taking time off boxing to resolve his mental issues. To whoever's listening and interacts with me on this, whatever you're going through, I hope it gets better for you. That's all I can say, because this is what we sign up for on this planet. And try to get to them good times when you can. Try to get to them good times.
It's a robbery. Call the police for me.
It's always good to see a good technical boxer. Yeah? But I'm very hard on boxers. I don't like people who try and sneak out points decisions by throwing a counter and a jab here and there. But I get it. It's a skill. The reason I'm hard on boxers, I need to see a clinical display of counterpunching before you impress me. Now, whatever I consider quality counterpunching or you consider quality is subjective. And I award aggression. I do. I'll admit that. But this fight here, sometimes you've got to be careful that you're not being prejudiced by everybody saying, oh, you need to go watch that beats. It's a robbery. But I watched this fight here and I saw MYKAL Fox or MYKAL Fox comprehensively outbox Gabriel Maestro easily. It was just so easy to score. Added to that, Fox scored a knockdown, a left-hand counter. This guy easily avoided getting trapped on the ropes in the corners, pivoted out when it looked like Maestro was threatening to swarm him. He was never backed up under any sustained pressure. He caught a few right hands here and there, but nothing that disturbed him at all. If he did get caught, they were all single shots. There was never no sustained attack from Maestro. None. Fox, his trainer was Atlantis Fox. I don't know if it was the fighter or if it was Atlantis' dad. So he's got a connection to that family, I'm assuming. But Fox is a southpaw. He landed a few check right hooks. As the shorter, more aggressive guy advanced in, it was easy as anything. Glorified sparring session with a WBA interim belt on the line. In the mid to late rounds, he started throwing combinations as he got more confident. And they robbed him on the scorecards. They robbed him. Yeah, I'm saying robbery. And it wasn't one of them robberies that they tried to tidy up and hide the evidence. They scored it a unanimous decision. 115-112. 117-110. Seriously. And the other one, 114-113. 3 blind mice. Even the 114-113 is not acceptable. Even that's not acceptable. Because the man just got outboxed in there. Outboxed. I was looking at my option of websites to get some more information on this horrible, horrible scorecard. It's bad enough the flipping interim belt being fought for. Then you got this scorecard. So I went to Free Kings Boxing, bigged them up. I wasn't going to go into certain websites. They're just absolutely appalling. So one of the judges, her name is Gloria Martinez Rizzo. She's the one who scored it 110-117. She was also exposed by making racist tweets about Michelle Obama, calling her a monkey, something or the other. But we all know the WBA, they're based in Panama, and what we're seeing here is a Latin American bias here, giving this decision to the Colombian. There should be an investigation, and I hear there will be one, and it's not going to leave them looking very good. Obviously, Gloria Martinez has some identity issues going on there, because she's not exactly European herself. I don't know if she considers herself a person of colour. Maybe she doesn't, and maybe she isn't. But is she racist against blacks, African Americans, or was it just some bias for Latin American fighters? An investigation is needed, and it might provide us some answers. Looks like Triller are stuck with a dud fight that they overpaid for, you know what I mean? Oh dear. Team Lopez, they objected to the fight taking place against KAMBOSOS on the 14th of August, but more so to the 14-day quarantine. The postponement cost Triller nearly $5 million, sources said, money that included travel expenses and other logistical marketing costs that cannot be recouped, since insurance for events isn't protected against the coronavirus. So hoping to offset some of the loss, Triller thought they could capitalise on the popularity of boxing in Australia. But the IBF are set to rule that the fight must take place in the US. A new date and site will need to be sorted. Since when did the sanctioning bodies have a say in where fights they have sanctioned take place? It's a new one for me. It looks like the IBF are holding up Team Lopez's protest about the quarantine rules in Australia, which mandate a 2-week quarantine. They maintain that the quarantine would affect their training camp for the fight. I'm not going to get into this story too much, but this saga with KAMBOSOS and Tio, it seems like it's woke up Eddie Hearn and DAZN. What did they bid? 3.2 or something for it? More than what Bob Arum did. Triller bid $6 million for it. They're not going to be bidding for fights, putting up them big numbers. Cutting your cloth according to your means is the road they're going down right now. And boxing, for the most part, is not valued, at least not now, to be making them big purse bids. Kid Galahad inks multi-fight pact with Eddie Hearn on the strength of winning that IBF title on Saturday. Galahad, before the Jazza Dickens fight, said, "I am fight camp. I am fight camp." The plans are to have a defense in Sheffield and then go for unifications. I tell you what, a lot of the fighters who fight on Eddie Hearn cards don't actually have contracts with MATCHROOM. I didn't realise that Kid Galahad didn't have a contract with MATCHROOM. It's been on a fight-by-fight basis. And now he's signed a multi-fight deal. Putting 2 and 2 together, Warrington saying he wants to go a different route rather than Kid Galahad if he beats Lara in a rematch. But MATCHROOM are going to be pushing for that rematch. If they're signing Galahad, I would assume they're going to be pushing for that. It's an in-house fight, perhaps a stadium fight at Ellen Road. Perhaps Josh Warrington will sign back with Frank Warren. That's if he gets past Lara. Eddie Hearn wants Dillian White versus Chris Arreola for October for Tyson Fury's WBC title. Now, I'm reading this off a website that... I mean, this website is so full of fucking shit. They're talking about Povetkin and the coronavirus affecting his performance, saying that Arreola is fighting at a higher level than Dillian White's last opponent. Really? They're so biased to American and Mexican fighters and so anti-European. It's ridiculous. Now, if Dillian is going to fight Arreola as a mark time fight, I don't have too much problem with it. But for the WBC title, that don't seem right. And it looks like they've gave up on the idea of matching Dillian against Jermaine Franklin. Dillian only plans to fight once this year. So is this what they're playing for in this lawsuit with the WBC? To get them to put Fury's championship in recess? So what would happen to the Fury and Wilder fight is the question. What belt would Fury and Wilder be fighting for? The WBC, I don't know. Maybe the legal system is the only course of action Dillian can take to get that title shot. We'll see. I think ideally they want Andy Ruiz, Eddie and Dillian. I mean, these websites are so biased. So it's okay for Andy Ruiz to fight fucking Arreola and not stop him and get hurt a couple of times, but it's not alright for Dillian to fight him. I remember when they made a whole article of why the Luke Campbell Ryan Garcia fight can't take place in England. And it was all in Ryan Garcia's favour of why it shouldn't be there. It was so blatantly biased. And this is the problem with internet journalism. You get journalism that is ridiculously one-sided. And they put it out like it's okay. Then you got this guy here. Dillian Whyte makes excuses and acts like he doesn't know who I am, says Michael Hunter, who was called for a major fight in the UK. I'm sure they could have arranged for Hunter to fight Hrgovic in the UK if he really wanted it. If he wanted that fight in the UK, he could have said to Eddie and the Sowlands, okay, I'll take the fight. But in the UK, what do you think they would have said? Oh, no, we can't have that. What, you think he won't travel from Croatia to the UK? It's quicker to get to the UK from Croatia than it is to get to America. This guy's full of crap. Listen, you can't say anything. Let's say even if Dillian was ducking you. You ducked Hrgovic. You can't put no shade on nobody. You fought Mike Wilson last time out for the Triller money on a Lou DiBella card in relative obscurity. You've put yourself in obscurity. Now you're going to have to try climb your way out of it.
Because I'm your boogeyman.
Fake boogeyman. Hear this guy Michael Hunter. They act like they don't know who I am. I was fighting before they ever put on a pair of gloves. I would fight White or even an up-and-coming guy. I might need to step down to get some action. You'd fight an up-and-coming guy. You didn't take your eliminator against an up-and-coming guy. Come on now. Now, was he petrified of Hrgovic? I doubt it very much. He didn't want to take the money that was on offer for Hrgovic. High risk, little reward. But a victory would have put him in position to fight Anthony Joshua. Hrgovic is still waiting for an opponent to challenge him in the eliminator. And it's not because Hrgovic is some monster, like some people are claiming now. It's that eliminator isn't putting no money in people's pockets. This is all about money, right? Michael Hunter has nowhere to go. He declined an eliminator, so he can't really call out AJ, can he? Dillian Whyte is one of the bigger lucrative paydays he can get from out of the contenders. This is about money. And look, Dillian, he could have fought Pulev for an eliminator a little while back in Bulgaria. He chose to fight Joseph Parker, which was a bigger fight, in all truth, but it didn't get him a title shot. And then he did get offered a shot against AJ. As far as I know, he did anyway. And he declined it. He claims that he was never offered the shot now. And it is what it is. So let's not pretend Dillian hasn't played around. But right now, this is about who's relevant and where the money's at. Michael Hunter has made himself obscure by taking that obscure fight. He hasn't really done anything since that draw with Povetkin. What's he done since 2019? He's not a draw in his country. Dillian is a draw in his country. That's why Michael Hunter wants that fight. Because he knows the pay-per-view money is good over here. No one's prepared to put Michael Hunter on pay-per-view in America. You want a big fight in Britain? He had a little buzz in Britain for a while when he beat Bacoli and Ustinov. But the buzz is worn off now. Now, this ain't really about American boxing fans, because most of them I know, they know what's going on with the sport worldwide. This is more about the American boxing media. A lot of them won't really be that tough on Michael Hunter for not fighting Hrgovic, because as far as they're concerned, he's just some European dude. And the American media don't really care about Michael Hunter, and nobody in the UK is calling for Dillian and Michael Hunter. Nobody's calling for it. Dillian is a pay-per-view fighter in this country. You know, so even when he turned down the eliminator with Pulev. He had a big money fight with Parker. You know, Michael Hunter turned down the Hrgovic fight to fight Michael Wilson. And it's just done nothing for his profile. Now, I don't know what that Triller money is like for Michael Hunter. I don't know. I don't think they're paying him that much to fight Mike Wilson, though. I really don't. Tell you what, that last knockout that BUATSI scored against Daniel Dos Santos, we can talk about the level of the opponent. It wasn't up to scratch, fair enough. But he was 15-0, and it was a great knockout. Highlight reel knockout.
I came to the corner, V said look downstairs and hit upstairs, look downstairs and hit upstairs.
And that was in May. They got together in May, and that was in May. So Virgil's teaching him all them veteran tricks that Virgil has stored up for how many years now. So 3 months on, we're going to see the progress they've made. Joshua BUATSI has been in America, sacrificing his comforts in England to become a contender and champion. Now, his opponent, Ricards Bolotniks, is not elite. He's world ranked, but that doesn't mean elite all the time, does it? But he shouldn't be slept on. He won a wide decision against Hosea Burton, who was 25-1 at the time. He's got some stoppage losses on his record. Let's remember the last stoppage loss he suffered was in 2018 to a cruiserweight, and a good cruiserweight in Tabiso Machuno. His record doesn't statistically look impressive. Only 8 stoppages in 18 wins. 5 losses, 3 of them losses have been stoppage losses, and 1 draw. But he hasn't lost since that Machuno defeat in 2018. And he's in the best form of his career. And he's tough. He's competent. He likes a good old scrap. BUATSI, however, is being developed for big things over there at MATCHROOM. 14-0, 12 knockouts. The appointment of Virgil Hunter is very significant in spelling out his ambitions of him wanting to be a world champion. So anything less than a conclusive win on Saturday is not a failure. You know, the W is all important, but we expect the transition of working with one of the top American coaches, the sacrifice he's made to be over there with Virgil. We're expecting a high level of performance. We want to see something that tells us he can challenge a Beterbiev, a Bivol, a Joe Smith. This is a key fight. Now, you can have your opinions all you like. BUATSI is ranked number 4 by the WBC. He's ranked number 2 by the WBA, number 3 by the IBF. He's ranked number 7 by the WBO. He's ranked in all the sanctioning bodies. Bolotniks is actually ranked higher than BUATSI in the WBO rankings at number 5. He's ranked number 6 in the IBF rankings, Bolotniks. He's ranked number 3, just behind BUATSI, who's in number 2 at the WBA. The only sanctioning body Bolotniks is not ranked in is the WBC. So this fight here is a fight Bolotniks is taking very seriously, because this is his opportunity to crash that world title party as well. A dangerous fight, because he's expected to blow through this guy, but this guy is not going to make it that easy for him. He's going to be there for the attrition. He likes a distance fight. He hasn't got the skills of a Marko Kalic, I don't believe, so BUATSI doesn't have to worry about being kept out for long periods of the fight behind a jab, which was uncomfortable viewing for me, especially when his eye got swollen up like that. But he pulled it around against a good boxer. But Kalic, probably a better boxer than Bolotniks, but not a better fighter. Kalic, 6-round fighter. That's what he looked like. 11-0 going into the BUATSI fight, but a 6-round fighter. Bolotniks, a lot tougher. Bolotniks likes a fight, but so does Joshua BUATSI. He likes a fight. And Bolotniks is going to oblige him. So this should be a good fight. And it could be very painful for Bolotnik, because BUATSI is a tough dude who likes to fight inside. He's young, he's fresh, he hits hard. 8th, 9th round stoppage will be good, in my opinion. You got MYKAL, winner stay on Mickinson. That's why I'm going to quote him from there, because he asked Eddie if he beats Congo, is it win or stay on? And he beat Congo, and he stays on. Against Premslav Ronowski, who's 19-1-0. Mickinson gets another shot on a Matchroom card on the strength of beating Chris Congo, who was undefeated. And Mickinson is an awkward southpaw. He's tricky. He's 20-0 right now. Doesn't have a lot of stoppages, but seems to hit a lot harder than what his stoppage ratio says on his record. And he's very ambitious. They've got Akashir Farouk. I don't know much about him. He's taken on Luis Gerardo Castillo for the vacant World Boxing Council International Bantamweight title. We've got Raymond Ford against Reese Bellotti. Joe Cordina against Joshua Hernandez. Zelfa Barrett, his opponent still to be announced. And Hopi Price against Claudio Grande in the next installment of Fight Camp this Saturday. Peace.